Hello, it's Monday Market 15, the 15-minute show that takes way more longer than it really should. Robin Morales, RCA Network, here with the one and only. I promised you all I'd come up with a different intro, but we'll work with what we got. Miss Ashley Perkins.
Hello,
She's back
everyone. We are back in action.
Back on the ropes.
Yes.
If you're a UFC fighter, you kind of know what that means. Back on the chains, I think. It's
Back
called.
on the chain gang.
But we're here
totally
to talk about
era.
the Phoenix housing market. Again, Robin Morales, RCA Network, coming at you live here on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, and everything in between.
We're twitching.
Yeah. How are you doing, Miss Perkins?
I'm doing good.
Are you percolating today?
I am, although I don't drink coffee.
Are you perky?
I'm very perky.
Oh. Well, hello. Well, if you were here before the show started, you'd hear many things, but we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the Phoenix housing market, Miss. How's everything going out there?
So yesterday
I
noticed a couple of comments that were made on. I can't remember if it was like the Alexa radio, because she's being really annoying right now and she does not listen to any of us, and she's always playing iHeartRadio when we say play on Spotify.
I'm a Siri guy. Sorry.
No, I mean,
Alexa's
just kind of like a snarky little brat, but she started talking about interest rates from 40 years ago, 1982, and I was like, shit. 1982, that's the year I was born. And interest rates were at one of the all-time highs, and then at church yesterday, they brought it up again about generosity and tithing, which is kind of one of the things we were talking about earlier today about tithing, and they brought up, again, interest rates and understanding the housing market and what we're doing with our money. So what are we doing with our money? Not that we are financial advisors and we do not give financial advice. I just copied your line.
Well, that's a disclosure for everybody.
It is a disclosure.
we tend to tell people what to do, but it's not advice.
I just thought about for 2 days in a row, something kept reminding me of 1982, the year I was born. I just turned 40. That
God,
shit,
you're old. You don't look it, though.
Thank you. It's called Botox. But the interest rates were substantially high. They were crazy high.
Should I pull those charts up?
Yeah, go ahead. And we're just going to
right
go into it.
So when you were born, there were roughly, I'm going to say 17%.
Yeah, in the range between 17, 18, 19.
That's crazy
somewhere
to know
around
that.
there. And
people are complaining about 7% right now.
Right. So that's what Tiffany was saying. You can't see her in the picture show. She's off to the side. But, we went from 40 years ago
just kidding.
at 17, 18, 19. And then, just earlier this year, we were at the low twos. And now we're, look at that, the average. Well, and actually, this answered my question right here. I didn't even look at that. If we do the average, we're at the freaking average over 40 years, you guys.
Well, I guess I can
the market has fluctuated up and down. It goes every 7 to 10 years.
Current mortgage rates are roughly about 6.65% out there. Last week when we were on the show, we saw 7.05. So they've dipped down a little bit.
Yeah.
So if you're going to go buy a house, buy it now.
Right now, today, from Robert. Just do it.
Not financial advice, but.
However, so that goes into play is over the past 4 decades.
Oh, boy.
We are really at an average. We've just become a freaking average market.
I was, I'm trying to pull up some numbers. I screwed up and did 1981. You were born in 1982. So
because that is the highest year of interest rates.
I'm trying to adjust this so we can match.
We were chatting about in church yesterday, but what I want to say is that, with a lot of people right now who currently have a very low interest rate that were putting their houses on the market, who wanted to oversell what they thought their house was worth, no offense, and people who wanted to buy that thought maybe it was overpriced, and now look where we are today.
So,
and that's okay.
I don't know if it means anything, but I was trying to put some charts together right here. So your mortgage payment, let me go back. So in 1981, when it was 16%, your housing prices were about $81,000. So equivalent today, if you look at today's equivalent, you pull up that, your payment would roughly be the same, but $170,000 house at 6.5%. So you can buy that little condo in the sky.
You cannot buy a house for $170,000.
You can buy something. Here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull up
land in Morristown.
Oh, the infamous Morristown. So what I'll do, I will pull up right now, live here on the show, houses that are under 170,000. I don't know if you'll like them.
Oh gosh.
I don't know if you'll like them.
I'm gonna
However,
sit back for this because I don't know if I want to see this.
This is
shit.
live on here. Price. I got a price. Price in there. Price.
Oh, live. I love live because this is raw and real, and it's.
And we know how Ashley likes it. Raw and real. We won't say how
Jesus,
much though.
Murphy.
Let's see. We got current price. I'm putting it in there. This was not planned whatsoever. So you have to excuse the rawness and of this moment. Look at that. 570 houses.
But
Right?
where?
Hold on. It's turning.
Turning and burning.
See if I can do it that way. 570 houses. What do you
So
mean
does
you-
that say Waddell? Go to that list. Go back to that list.
I'm trying to get the map.
Oh, map. Where
There we go.
Oh, Miami. Miami, Arizona is cute. It's out by the lakes.
So
I don't know where the hell Kirkland
the interest rate
is.
for the interest rates. Look at that. There's still a good here. Let me just do Phoenix since we're on the Phoenix housing market, not the Waddell housing market.
Nope, but you have Morristown in there.
I threw a Morristown in there just for you.
Thank you.
So you can buy a house right now under 170,000, 351 selections.
Okay, that's not half bad.
Not bad. Not bad. I mean, you're having more options is really what's key there. So if you look and scroll, you'll kind of see, most of them do look like trailer homes,
And that's okay.
So, but you can buy something.
This is kind of where the trajectory of this conversation, it actually is great that this came up because we're, our economy is changing.
Do tell.
Jobs are changing. Pay rates changing. What people are able to afford to pay people, what people are making in sales. Are people able to buy things? So if you're a salesperson, you're making less because of people's
Well, everything's
income.
relative. Yeah. I mean, everything's connected to each other. I mean, housing,
Right.
I think, is really the, I guess, the marker of how we are doing in an economy. Because everything
Right.
ties back to housing, utilities, to landscapers, to real estate agents, to mortgage brokers. There's so many different ties back to a house that it's a.
So this is why I love what you said. Our economy.
I was setting her
so
up.
this is why, and not unintentionally, you set me up.
Oh,
So the name of our show is Under Pressure. How many of you guys feel like you're under pressure? Because the holidays are coming up, and we have, our utilities, our housing. Utilities being water, sewer, trash, gas, if you have that, electrical, all those things. And you're feeling, holy guacamole, like, I don't know how I'm going to sustain this.
Yeah.
And then you're also thinking, okay, well, now I got to buy Christmas presents. And then do I use my credit cards? What the heck do I do? So when I came into Robert today and I was like, okay, I'm going to do a show. What are we going to call them? Under pressure. People are feeling under pressure. And we have an opportunity right now.
Yeah.
We may not be able to sell our home that we thought we could sell. We may not be able to purchase a home because of whatever the circumstances is. But I can tell you one thing. I know from being a loan officer in 2008 when interest rates were about the same that there are a lot of companies out there that you can negotiate with. So call your car company. There's a credit union. I just got an email from my credit union, SunTrust.
Well, yeah.
And they said, hey, guess what? We'll defer your car payment for the entire month of December without adding extra interest onto it so you can spend more money on your family for the holidays. And I thought, wait, you're going to allow me to not make my car payment in December. You're going to add it to the end of my loan, but you're not going to charge me the interest? Yes, please. Sign me up yesterday.
I think that's a lot of companies that don't want people to default on their
They
loans.
don't.
They don't want to have to take repossession of things.
Nobody does.
Yeah, I mean, we went through that in 2008, 2009, and nobody
Right.
wants to go through that again, especially the banks.
No, in the banks and
Anybody else out there that has any insight? Any mortgage officers out there that want to provide some of the insight? Some of the things they're saying.
And I don't want to say
whatever we
take advantage of these situations, but I do want to say take advantage of these situations, my friends, because instead of using your credit cards, again, not financial advisor, just, coupon queen, mom, whatever, this is what I suggest. So when my company sent me that, I was like, heck yeah, because that saves me a substantial amount.
Yeah.
where if I decide that I want to take advantage of it,
Yeah.
which why wouldn't you? Makes economical and financial sense. And then I don't use my credit cards because credit cards are an average between 21 and 27%. That gives
Yeah, I
you
mean,
the
it's a
extra
lot.
dollar amount depending on your car payment. And you can do that. So you can even do that with like your mortgage. Mortgage companies will allow you to do that too.
Yeah, and I think a point of reflection, if I may have a moment to maybe ponder a bit, the whole goal in establishing your credit, getting everything in line, is to purchase a house or a car, right? I mean, there's really not any other big purchase that normal people don't buy. I mean, if you have a business and you do other things, that's a whole other story. But you know, for 95% of Americans out there, they're growing their credit and they're growing their financial circumstances to purchase a house or buy a car. Mm-hmm. But if you already have those things, you know, the other concern, if you do explore those options, explore like taking a break or, you know, suspending your payments for whatever it is, it may impact your credit, yes, but if it gets you out of a situation and you already have what you spend your whole life trying to attain, you know, maybe that's something to consider. Not that I'm telling anybody to do that.
But I'm going to counter.
Point of reflection.
You know, I'm going to counteract
You're gonna
that
counter?
too because I think that's great.
Counter
You put an intention. So let's say your car company says, "Hey, Robert, you have 2 car payments.
Yeah.
One is $300 and one's $500. I'm just making up numbers. That's $700.
Yeah.
That's $700.
What kind of car do I have? Do I have a Tesla?
I mean, if you want one, you can have
That's like
it.
a $700 payment.
Well, no, I'm saying you have 2 cars, so like you could have like, I don't know. You decide what you want in your own head. It's your own imagination. But now you have that deferred, right?
Yeah.
So, and they're not going to add interest onto it. So wouldn't you have 2 options here, in my opinion. You can take that $700 and use it towards gifts. Or let's say you are completely financially stable
Yeah.
and you can still defer it. Why not make an extra chunk payment on your credit cards that are at 24%
I would probably agree to that.
and
more.
still use your cash?
I probably wouldn't buy gifts for Christmas. I'd probably tell everybody, hey, you're getting a card for Christmas.
You're going to get it.
You're getting a 99-cent card with a 60-cent stamp.
Well, the
That's
dollar store is now $1.25, so they can like,
It's called inflation.
yeah, it's.
It sucks.
I was telling Robert and Tiffany earlier today. My son came home last night from work.
Oh, God.
He got a job at Sky Zone. I think you guys might have heard me say this, and he's just bored as out of his freaking mind. He goes, "Mom, when is inflation going to stop?" He goes, "I'm very calculated with my money." He's definitely not my child. And he's like, "So if I go here to In-N-Out and I get this, and it's $8.08, but then if I go here to Panda Express, it's $11.14. So do I just constantly eat cheeseburgers, or should I be diverse and like still go eat chicken here and like make sure my diet's balanced, but then my money, like how do I manage this? Because I work really hard for
Well,
my money."
If he eats In-N-Out Burger, his inflation will be his weight.
He's
he's
freaking
a-
6'3",
he's
weighs
avoiding-
138 pounds.
He's avoiding monetary inflation with weight inflation.
He wants to gain weight, so
inflation.
he's trying to like eat as much as he possibly can, and that's a challenge. Is like food is freaking expensive. Milk is almost $4 a freaking gallon. So how are we manipulating our money in this crazy market?
I don't know. It all depends on how you want to diversify yourself and want to leverage. So if you're in an environment right now, my suggestion, not a financial advice, is again, if you're a W-2 and you don't anticipate, creating your own business or starting your own business, buy down your debt right now. That's the only thing you can. And I would
I
even
like that.
consider and probably throw it out there. If you have business debt, that is probably worth more than your actual cash money in the bank right now, because inflation is just so high.
It is
It's counterintuitive. And if you think about it, think about it.
well, and I really
I had an argument with Violet about that. She's like, we should buy down our debt. I'm like, well, my business debt actually helps me.
Yeah,
and
it does.
And it's actually going against inflation. I can either have cash in hand, which inflation is 8%,
Right.
or have this business debt that I'm paying 3% on.
right. So that's 1 + 1 always equals 2, right? So figure out where your cash flow is and understand it, and don't be afraid of these interest rates. Don't be afraid of them, because you could have been around in 1982.
Let me pull that up again. See if
Oh, where's that meme I sent you? That was freaking hilarious.
I didn't meme to throw it away.
Meme. I know I have it.
So right
I'm
back
actually gonna pull it
when
up right
Ashley
now.
was born in 82, I thought she was born in 2002. how young she looks, is roughly about whatever this was.
Yeah, we already said it. 19%.
About 15%.
So the meme says paying 7% at $30K under list is better than $100K over at 2.99.
We talked about it last week. It's
Let that sink in.
I know
yeah.
it's front end versus back end. You paid on the 30, but again, it's like that's just a funny Elon Musk thing.
Yeah, it's silly, but there's a lot of. It's all about feeling under pressure and letting that shit sink in. Where is your money going? How are you being diverse?
To Ashley Perkins.
If you were afraid to purchase a home right now, just do it.
Well, yeah, and again, I go on the side of like everything makes sense to a person,
Well, if we calculate it properly.
because proper preparation equals proper performance.
No, proper preparation prevents poor
I
performance.
still don't get the 5 P's thing. So looking at our market a little bit. So everything's coming down. So I'm going to pull up our rental market right now. It looks like rents are coming down month over month. So if you're out there in the rental market, things are kind of slowing down a little bit. Inflation and with the increase Fed rates, they're increasing rates in just about every category that we're looking at as far as purchases, rentals, everything else. So it's bringing those prices down. It's also reflective right here in our purchase market. So that was the rental market. Average rent in Phoenix is the median is about $2,100. So if your landlord was coming up to you and asking for you to renew your lease, and they're gorging you, and because there's no limit. There is no limit in Arizona how much they can raise your rent. There are in other states. There's 10% limits. There's 10. I think California is a 10% year over year, but in Arizona itself, there is no cap to how much they can raise your rent.
Which is unfortunate, but you can do your due diligence by calling somebody like Robert and saying, hey, what are the average rents in my area? My landlord wants to increase it, and Robert can pull them for you. So then you have a little bit of leverage and be like, hey, bro or girl, sis, broski.
Hey, brah.
You want to raise my rent by $200, but I have a real estate agent that I'm, comfortable with, and he said this is not.
They call me the heavy.
This is not rational.
I bring in the big guns.
And if you pay, if you paid for a year or plus, and you're consistent, do you think that your landlord really is going to have you move out, knowing that if he tries to replace you, a good, consistent person?
Yeah, because honestly, like if somebody's raising the rent, and again, we didn't plan for this. So if somebody's raising the rent, let's say $200 a month, that's $2,400. And right now, the average time between vacancy to an actual tenant is another 60 days. So they're losing out on 2 months. If you're the median rate, it's $2,200 a month, so that's about $4,400 a month. So if they're going to try to raise the rent on you,
how are they
and it's going to take them 60 days to find a new tenant, they may be able to get that new price, but they're also losing out on 2 months of vacancy. That 2 months of vacancy is not equivalent to the $2,400 extra they were going to charge you.
So it
doesn't make sense to them.
We have leverage
on their side. Yeah,
we have leverage. That's like under pressure. Like we have leverage that we are not aware of. Like we have leverage with our car companies. We have leverage with our mortgages. We have leverage if you haven't purchased a home. There is a lot out there.
And I'm 5'11", so I got a lot, kind of a little bulky, so I can throw my leverage around.
Throw it down.
Ashley's like a size 0, so she doesn't have that much leverage.
What he's talking about.
Maybe
What's about to happen coming the beginning of next year?
Do I want to know?
Do you know? I know you don't. You probably don't know, but I know.
Well, I didn't prepare for that.
Proper preparation.
But if you're asking me what my predictions are versus what is the reality, is that what you're asking?
Yeah, no.
What are you asking?
I'm saying that if you're a homeowner and you're in a position that you were wanting to sell your property, but you couldn't get the capital that you anticipated, ROI, the return on investment, correct?
Sure. On what? Rental or purchase?
The purchase, right?
Okay.
So you're not getting it. Interest rates went up. You're like, oh, well, woe is me. But you still have a good interest rate. Not selling it. There are alternatives, like Airbnb your property.
Well, yeah. I was actually reading some news where Airbnb is, if you're getting ready for Airbnb in this state, in Phoenix, in the next, like, let's say 3 months because Super Bowl's coming. I think that's kind of what you're hinting at.
Kind of.
Possibly, I mean, but that's a short-term solution. That's like a turn and burn. That's not something long-term because once the Super Bowl hits, what do you have left? Hockey?
That's a fucking joke. Sorry.
I mean, the NBA is not. I mean, the Suns. I love them to death, but I don't see that championship coming through.
But sometimes under pressure, we have to think outside the box.
Correct. Yeah.
We really do. We have to understand this, and I also think that we need to stop talking shit about our economy. This is not new news.
I think I know your political stance.
But it's not. This is not new news. We knew this was going to happen. It's just the ebbs and flows of it.
We're trying to get a hold and sustain our economy so it doesn't. We don't have running inflation. Running inflation being pulled down or dragged down by our rate increases, and so we're starting to see ahead. Month over month, we went from like an 8.2, 8.3 inflation rate to now a 7.7, which was better than expected. So inflation is they're hoping in every market coming down. With our political environment changing a little bit, you see, and if we end up being a more balanced kind of legislative and executive branch, we may get some stability because nothing's going to happen legislatively. If we have a House, because the Senate is kind of gone, the House of Representatives may, depending on how things turn out. But if we have an unbalanced legislative branch, we're not really going anywhere. So markets tend to be a little bit more predictable. So if you're watching finances, if you're looking at your 401k and stuff, there may be some predictability next year into where the markets are going. The Fed might pull back a little bit. I don't foresee that until way past the middle of next year.
I would say like in the next 12, 18 months.
Some people were anticipating that in mid 2023 that we would see some stability and actually pull back in interest rates. But that's a little aggressive, a little bit too quick based on our trajectory this past year.
Yeah.
So coming at next year, looking at rates decreasing, you're probably looking about at least, in my opinion, at least 9 months from now. So this time next year, you'll actually start seeing rates decrease.
Very possible.
Should. Very possible. My prediction. I don't know what's going to happen.
We don't, but that's why we continue to show that chart from like 40 years ago. It's a 7-year up, 7-year down, 7-year up, 7-year down. Sometimes it's 8 years, sometimes it's 10 years. So but overall, we've been consistent with the up and down, the up and down, the up and down. Yes, has it continuously gone down? Heck yeah, it has.
Well, we're nearing our historic average, or our 30-year trend average, but we're not quite there yet.
71 is 50.
The thing that really has to change right now is prices. Not so much that, just the sellers out there have just conceded the fact that they may have to lower the price or make adjustments according to price because people at the end of the day can't afford that. At least not in Phoenix. If you're the median average income, which is about $50,000 in Phoenix, you simply can't afford. You can afford that $120,000.
But we can afford what we let ourselves afford.
You can afford these.
But we can afford what we allow ourselves to afford, and that's why I was going back to understanding.
Most people want single family.
Your housing, your bills, your utilities, your gas, your water, your this, your cable.
There's 11 single family houses. It's getting there. It's more than 0 at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, 11 is better than 0. Just saying, not saying. Where are they at?
What in Morristown? Look at that. One is right there in Morristown.
No, I'm probably going to buy it.
For $147,000.
Really? It got that pricey?
Oh, it's in Wickenburg. Oh, sorry. Never mind. Cancel Morristown.
So rude.
Morristown is canceled.
But I think the biggest suggestion is to really pay attention to what is happening on day to day, whether you have to market to get updates on your social media or on a lot of these charts we get are exclusive to just real estate agents. And then calling all of your companies, where's your money going? And how are you utilizing your money based upon the interest rate? So we're freaking out about these 8% interest rates. I'm just going to call them almost 8%, right? Because that's where we're headed. But yet you have no problem paying 24 to 26% on a credit card?
Well, the amount is a little bit bigger. But
It's really sit down and, my Excel spreadsheet like mind and figure it out. Where is my money going? What am I doing with it? Where is the market going?
Yeah, if you solely look at percentages, buying that big screen TV at 20%, it's not as smart. Unless you own a business and you use that in your business.
Correct. Well, that's a whole
But most
other
people,
show.
most people don't even use it.
That's on your like Financial Advisor Friday or
Not financial advisors here at RCO Network.
We're
just,
not.
We're just BSing, I guess.
no, but we are
With facts. We're backing it up with facts.
well, we are very factual, and we are also very realistic. And it's not optimism, it's not pessimism, it's realistic.
Listen,
Where
realism?
is our realism? Where is our money going?
I was trying
And
to go
how
with
are we going to balance it?
But looking at, as we close up today's show, we keep looking back at our market index. Our supply index is green is not good. Green means oversupply a little bit. Red in the demand index also means little demand. So it's really, we're coming off a balanced market. Look at that. It's starting to go into declining market. Look at that.
It's like my gas tank.
Look at that. It's right on the end. It's that last 2 miles where you're like, I can just make it to that one
I
stop.
have reserves. I have reserves.
I'm like, I know I could pull this up. I did
could
run
do
out of
it.
gas
I could
one
do
time.
it.
I ran out of gas, so I was literally like a quarter mile away from my house.
I remember
my
2
condo.
times I've ran out of gas, and both times I was pregnant.
Oh boy.
Swear to God.
Are you in labor or just pregnant?
Really big and pregnant, and I was like, I got to pee so bad I
Yeah,
can
but
make
you're
it.
cute. You can get away with like some guy coming and helping you with.
Oh no, one
Some
time
guy would come by and literally run and get you gas and come back and.
No, one time it was a police officer, and the other
Was he cute?
time, oh God, I don't remember. I was big and fat and pregnant and had to pee. Do you think I was looking at his face?
Yes.
I was looking down at my legs, making sure nothing was running down. And the second time was I was
wasn't
very
cute
pregnant
then.
and I had to walk to the gas station. It wasn't very
He
far,
wasn't
but
cute then.
I was just trying to push it and push it and push it. No pun intended about being pregnant, but literally the 2 main times I ran out of gas, I was big and pregnant. So don't run out of gas, my friends. Pay attention to your finances.
Absolutely. So, is there anything else, Miss Miller, while we run the show today? We're at the tail end.
No, just under pressure. It is challenging, but you can choose under pressure.
Proper preparation keeps you less under pressure, depressured, whatever.
Prevents poor performance.
Ashley Perkins, Rob Morales, RCO Network, coming at you Monday, Market 15. Every Monday here, roughly 2 to 3, sometimes 4.
Whenever I show.
Whenever we get there. But we'll catch you guys next week, bringing you more updates on the Phoenix housing market. See y'all
my friends.
one day.